like your mom? Is it like her? Huh? Say it again. To be, so when you're with your friends, is it okay for them to push you?
No.
No, that's right. Not okay.
Me.
I'm looking for the red light. Not okay, right? So you should be nice to your friends, right? Say it again. Maybe you're playing, but like I'll say this: if you're playing around, sometimes you have to pause, right, and decide where does this fit in my boundaries. Because have you ever been with somebody who's kind of playing too much? You know, like playing too much. You know, you're pushing me, you're hitting me, things like that, and it starts not to work out, right? So then if you want the more of the red, yellow, green.
Yeah, I know I'm listening.
So if you get to the point where you're playing, but it's getting uncomfortable, then you can always pause and let the individuals know, listen, I don't like that, I don't want to play like that, right? That is not okay, right? What else would be okay? Like, you got candy.
Give her the candy.
Oh, go down and get some. Tell me.
Me and my friends do not.
Azul.
Friends push.
That's right. You and your friends do not push each other, and y'all understand that. And it's like that from when you're younger to all the way like when you have a boyfriend, right? So you have to be able to know what is okay, you know, and then you should be able to talk to the individual about what is okay, what's not okay, and you always have to be able to pause, right, so that you can discuss your boundaries.
Yeah, so basically just to like reiterate what she's saying is that like the reason that we have love languages is so that we can respect people's boundaries. It's easier to disrespect somebody's boundaries because we don't know, but when you have love languages, it encourages you to communicate with your partner. So like if Miss Hope was talking and she had looked over to me, if I just started talking and I cut her off, that would be disrespecting her boundaries, and that would play a part into how our friendship or our relationship continues because it would make her feel disrespected. So in other words, when you have those situations, when you come into a pause, even at the ages that y'all are now, like the older ages, instead of it just being like a pause, it's more like, hey, Miss Hope, I didn't like that. Like it's easier to state how you feel in a relationship with your boundaries rather than just like avoiding them or ignoring them. And that's why you gotta use love languages to reinforce, okay, that was my boundary to respect my space when I'm talking, but I also like words of affirmations if we want to talk about, you know, using communication as a key role in your relationship. Do y'all have any relationships with people, like platonic friendships, any relationships that you feel like was rocky?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Was it like, did you express your boundaries with them though first, and it was like they disrespected them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be like that.
Yeah, and like that's where the pause come into play, because then you get to reevaluate your space. Then it's like, well, is that really my friend, or is that somebody I want to be friends with? Because either I'm not telling you my boundaries in the appropriate way, or you don't understand what my boundaries is, and that's creating a problem. But there's also relationships that you may have like a negative problem in, and you may ignore. Like with your parents, you probably be like, people be like, oh, that's my parent, so you kind of like just let it go because that's your parent. But you shouldn't, because even as your parent should know how to teach, how to treat you as a person, because they made you, not you make them. So they need to know how to love you, not the other way around. So whether it's platonic and it's just your friend and it's like, yeah, Miss Hope, my feelings was hurt earlier because it's in the third, or she could be like, I hurt her feelings because I was late a little bit, I apologize. Either or, but like just being able to be transparent in the moment in a situation is what the pause is for. And then when you're doing things that are okay, this is where your love languages come into play. So whether it's if Miss Hope wanted to talk after this to debrief about the situation, and then I told her, hey Miss Hope, I prefer to use like, I would say physical touch. So after this, I would like to shake your hand after, so to show that I have more respect for the situation. That's okay. That way you can move forward in the situation and it stays agreeable. Yeah. rather it went the other way around and I just gave Miss Hope a hug. I don't know if Miss Hope likes hugs, so then she could be like, girl, I don't know you like that, don't hug me. Like, we not that type of friends because I'm upset. So that's what these things like come into play for, and that's when you're supposed to use them. So when you in a pause, you're supposed to have a conversation and you're supposed to express how you feel, because if you don't, then you don't know. You just don't.
Yeah. And then the other person doesn't know, right? And so one of the things that I use when I'm in pause mode, right? Because you have to pause, and pausing is for thinking, rethinking, and mostly for breathing, right? You have to breathe, because if you're trying to make a decision or go forward with whatever you want to do, you have to get some oxygen to your brain. Can we just breathe in? Just take a couple of deep breaths. In for 6. Out for 4. Was that hard? Was that difficult to go in for 6? One more time. 6. Out for 4.
I got a question.